Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today, Bitcoin is still looking fantastic, and so is the rest of the market. But you know who is on a buying spree? That's right, Blackrock. Blackrock went on a huge buying spree. Let's talk about Blackrock IBIT's ETF inflow today and talk about why major move is ahead for Bitcoin and crypto. So much going on. So much going on. Let's do it. Welcome, guys. Bitcoin is holding steady at 67,300, which is absolutely fantastic. Holding above this resistance, turn support now, right? It's just a matter of time we break through the 68,000 that we hit a couple times and head up to 70,000 plus. It's just a matter of time, right? There are so many bullish catalysts that are ongoing right now, including some major people out there. Elon Musk is one of them. So I covered Elon Musk, right? He has, look at his profile picture. He has laser eyes now, right? We know laser eyes represent Bitcoin and true Bitcoin holders. So not only that, he started tweeting a lot about money and how there's value destruction. This is not the only one. All today, he's been just talking about money, right? And how it's basically just disappearing in front of our eyes, right? And it's true. It's true. The US dollar, along with every other fiat currency on the planet, is debasing and getting weaker. And overall, they are robbing you of your buying power. Over time, they all will go to zero. So it's not a secret. It's just people refuse to recognize that. Why do you think items, services, goods, assets, commodities, whatever, they are all getting more expensive? It's because the dollar or the euro or the sterling or the yen or yuan, they're all getting more worthless. That's why, right? That's why Bitcoin continues to go higher, partly because it's scarce and partly because of inflation, because everything else, all the fiats around the world are losing their value against Bitcoin. That's another big reason. Right? So Elon is turning very bullish on Bitcoin. He's in Nashville right now. People could track his plane. Okay? And there are rumors that he will be attending the Bitcoin conference and possibly even going on stage and announcing something. Don't know. It's completely rumorville. But maybe he talks about he's going to set Bitcoin again for Teslas. Maybe he's going to add more Bitcoin to Tesla's and SpaceX's reserves. Or maybe he's going to announce his new X wallet that supports Bitcoin and Ethereum and Doge, right? Who knows? Who knows? It's not a coincidence that he's in Nashville right now during Bitcoin week and while Trump is there. There's no way this is a coincidence, right? So if Elon is going to turn full bullish once again due to his understanding of the destruction of the dollar, that is very, very bullish. That's a big catalyst moving forward, right? And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about. The dollar since 1913, the dollar since has been dropping to close to zero now in 2023 and 2024. While what's not dropping versus the dollar is the price of Bitcoin, and it continues to go higher and higher and higher and higher. Pretty simple concept. Pretty simple concept. Now, speaking of Trump, we don't know what he's going to say during the Bitcoin conference, but there's a lot of rumors about maybe strategic reserve, using Bitcoin as strategic reserve for the dollar, for the US government, They're even talking about it on CNBC. This is a short clip. Let's play this. Can it actually happen? Can we actually see Bitcoin be a reserve for the US dollar?
And so, yeah, he's going to speak very positively about Bitcoin here at the conference.
Do you think that these favorable comments could go so far as to indicate that he'd be open to it being a reserve currency for the U.S.?
Yeah, so there were some rumblings of that on X this week. It could be something that's very difficult to get done, but it is possible. The Justice Department holds about 200,000 units of Bitcoin. So the United States is the largest holder of Bitcoin. And so they could easily just...
First of all, that I think he means by country, not as just a holder, because Sailor and MicroStrategy has more. BlackRock certainly has more. So I think he means by country.
Move that over to the Department of Treasury and start right there and have 13 billion worth of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So it is a possible move. It just could be tough to get done. But what happens is the Justice Department, in holding these units of Bitcoin, they've been a random seller in the space. And so if they move from being a random seller at times, which could push the price of Bitcoin down, over to being a long-term hodler, well, that could be really good for the space and push prices up.
Well, that's stating the obvious. Obviously, rather than selling, you hold. Of course, that's going to help the price, right? But it's going to be even better if the U.S. declares that Bitcoin is going to be held as a reserve, either just as a strategic reserve or a reserve for the dollar. Absolutely huge. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see if this gets announced. All right, so there's that, and there's possibly other stuff, right? But, in terms of what he's saying, random sells, right? We do see the U.S. government, the Department of Justice moved about $4 million worth of Bitcoin today. Did they sell it? Or are they preparing for something else? Who knows, right? But, $4 million here or there really means nothing, especially compared to the ETF inflows. Of course, we don't have the full tally. We'll get it tomorrow. But the tally from a couple weeks ago to now is absolutely massive. Last week alone, look at it. 400 million, 3753, 400 million, 300 million. You're talking about over $1 billion of inflow last week, okay, in the US, not counting the other ETFs or anything like that. But just today alone, BlackRock took in $524 million. In one single day, one ETF took in $500 million worth of Bitcoin. So I don't know what the tally is going to be tomorrow. It could be like 700 million. It could be $1 billion. Okay, what I do know is this: the big boys, the institutions, and the hedge funds, and the public trade companies, private companies, even retail investors, and the fund managers themselves, BlackRock and others, they are buying. BlackRock, you may not understand, but they're filling their other funds with their IBIT fund. So essentially, they're buying their own. So massive. And this is not going to stop. In the future, we will get $1 billion inflows, $2 billion inflows, $3 billion inflows per day for just a single fund. When in the bull market, when we're truly toward the top of the bull market and Bitcoin's above $100,000, I can't even imagine what the inflows are, right? So this is absolutely fantastic, but I like to point out, asterisk, this is a fantastic short term. Long term, this sucks. No one really wants BlackRock and all the funds to hold such enormous amounts of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was created for the people, by the people. That's why I'm telling you guys, DCA and load up as much sats, as much Bitcoins as you can before it becomes too expensive or before too much of it has been bought by the big institutions and whales. Here's a staggering stat. Even when I was investing in ETFs, like back in 2000, the dot-com bubble, I remember QQQ was one of my go-to ETFs because it was like technology. It was basically like it tracks NASDAQ, right? The IBIT Bitcoin ETF from Blackrock already surpassed that fund, which actually came out like 20-something years ago. Almost, probably maybe even longer, 30 years ago. The BlackRock IBIT Trust is going up so fast, it's unbelievable, right? According to this, it's the overall year-to-date flow is the 4th largest, right? And it doesn't have the year-to-date returns. I'm curious. But if you look at even the volume, it's the 2nd largest. It's crazy how much interest there is in Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs, but overall for Bitcoin, right? And we're not at 6 figures yet. Wait until we hit 80,000, 90,000, 100,000, what the volume and the intake inflows will be. Absolutely crazy at that point. And here's what's crazier. According to this, we have about 62 days of what we're going through before we really start going parabolic. This is looking at the 2015 or 2017 cycle and 2021 cycle. Average together, if you look at the red, you could see versus the gray and the blue, we're kind of moving how we should. And in approximately 2 months, that's when we start skyrocketing upwards to what? $300,000, $600,000 according to this. That's not too long. Could come anytime. We could be fast. We could be ahead of the curve. Okay, because of all the ETF inflows, right? And we got some major catalysts also that's happening right now, right? And there will be more catalysts happening in the future. Here's one that's a megaphone pattern, which we're forming, right? And I don't have other ones like the Wyckoff accumulation, which we have seen time and time again. It's looking like we're breaking out of that. There's just so much bullishness going on right now. Right now. This is definitely an exciting time. And I still maintain that, you know what, by the end of this week, not even the end, when Bitcoin conference start, we are at an all-time high. I still maintain that. We slowed down a little bit today, but it would not surprise me if we see 70K tomorrow, 72 by Wednesday, and then possibly 74, 75 by the day the conference starts on Thursday. It would not surprise me one bit. Let's see if it happens. Now, there's also another big catalyst that's coming tomorrow in about 12 hours. Ethereum spot ETFs. Okay? Ethereum spot ETFs are coming out tomorrow. This could be absolutely huge. No one's paying attention to Ethereum right now. Everyone's talking about Trump and Elon and Larry Fink and the Bitcoin conference. No one's talking about spot Ethereum ETFs. They could surprise the market tomorrow. It could come out with explosive volume, and if we get that, that's going to help bring up everything too. So coming out tomorrow, 5 different funds, okay, and they're getting ready. They're getting ready. Grayscale moves $1 billion worth of ETH to Prime. So they are loading up and they're getting ready. Bitwise is going to donate 10% of profit to open source protocol development, aka Vitalik's pocket. But yeah, you know, tomorrow could be a big day. Not only Bitcoin hitting 70,000, but Ethereum also possibly moving up. You know, Ethereum actually has been quite disappointing. I thought it would move more. I thought it would move up more before the news, the big thing, right? It hasn't. But you know what? We may get a shock tomorrow. And let's not forget, BlackRock also has the Ethereum spot ETF. Look at what they have done with Bitcoin, how much inflows they had so far. Will we see the same thing happen with BlackRock's Ethereum spot ETF? Quite possibly. Could happen. Could happen. Now, outside of Ethereum, what else is there? Solana ETF. Solana has been absolutely killing it, guys. I don't know if you guys been paying attention or you've been living under a rock. Solana is killing it recently. And that's because it's just good to hold. There's a lot of reasons why it's good to hold. ETFs, there's already applications. The next ETF that we're going to get is probably Solana. Okay, it could be coming by the end of the year. The way things are getting improved now, who's to say we can't get Solana ETFs by the end of the year? Right? TVL is also coming up in a big way. Not back to all-time high, but even higher than April and March of earlier this year when the meme craze was happening, right? It has more TVL now than even then, but not all the way back to 2021 highs, but it's getting up there. It's starting to break out. Well, you can't see because of my camera, but right there, you could see how we are higher than March, right? That is very, very bullish. What else is bullish is DEX volume continues to increase, overall total volume, transactional volume, new addresses, everything is blowing up on Solana. That's what we want to see. That's why Solana is so hot right now. What else is hot? Last thing is Injective and Ondo. A lot of people know Ondo is RWA play, right? All about tokenizing treasuries and yield. And they have onboarded Injective. Not a whole lot of talk about Injective recently, but Injective is getting into RWA, partnering up with Ondo Finance, and they have their own Helix leading yield-bearing instrument, the new USDY, which is a new dollar from Ondo that is now on Injective. Interesting. Interesting indeed. All right, guys. That is it today overall. Not too shabby. If I get rid of that. Okay, XRP is doing well for some reason. And Solana's doing well. Bitcoin's doing well. Everything's doing well today. Let's do some Q&A. Crypto Crab, I just saw your big super chat earlier. I don't know if that's a shill for Harambe, but I do like the fact that you hold almost 2 Bitcoins, so congratulations. Appreciate that. Tennessee Eco Man says, my wife's nail salon is now talking about Bitcoin or taking Bitcoin. What else? Ron Paul, huge week incoming. Jose says, keep buying Sol under 200. I agree with that. You should definitely eat at Cane's. Eat at Cane's more. They have the best chicken strips. I do agree, Doug Fresh. Canes, Raising Canes, I just had them recently, and I do think they probably have the best chicken tenders / strips of any place I've been to. I've only been to one other place where the breading on the tender is different, so I think maybe they're better. But overall, Raising Cane's chicken strips is top 2, in my opinion. It could be top 1. Willy Wonka says Solana to 1K so I could buy George's Tesla. I will sell it to you at half price. How about that? At 1K. I might even give out my Tesla when Solana hits 1K. Jorge, think Fetch will come back after merger is complete. I hope so. I do think so. But Coinbase not going with the conversion kind of sucks. It does. Punk on Solana. Don't know anything about it. I've heard of it before. I don't know if it's pumping. It could be. It is not pumping. It's down 8%. Man, I'm hearing so much about the Bitcoin conference. Those of you guys that are if you're in Tennessee, like, you really should go. Like, I'm hearing so much about this. I know it kind of is expensive, but like this festival pass, I guess, is somewhat reasonable. I mean, this industry pass and the whale pass are just completely outrageous at this point. But man, I'm hearing so many things that are happening, and it's just like one of those conferences I feel like you should go to, in my opinion. Just, Jose, it's a fiberglass. Fiberglass. Would Kamala be more bullish for crypto or Big Mike? Big Mike? I gotta up my commentary game. He outshined me in the last IFC too. I gotta come up with more crypto related sayings for IFC 3 that relate to a fight. I need to do some research on that. Thoughts on Trader Joe Dex on Avalanche? It's fine. Undercover doc. It's great for Avalanche. As for a hold, I'm not so sure. W Dog. I made a SWAT team. Okay, W Dog. George, I just made a SWAT team and told them I wasn't retiring for 10 years, but it's looking closer this year or next year during the bull cycle. You will disappoint them, my man, if you retire early, but no one's going to blame you for it. No one's going to blame you for it. Jose, yeah, you don't need to build a fiberglass pool. They have molds already. You just buy one, they drop it in, and they put like a collar, a concrete collar around it to hold it. I mean, it's supposed to be durable and you can't really damage it at all, and everything's going to be like super tight for a long time. Sorry, I was typing. Jose, overall with everything, it was like 150K. Retro Bill, thoughts on Dodge Demon 170, 1025 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 1.6 seconds. First of all, I don't think it's 1.6 seconds. And even if it is, you'll never be able to hook up on the street. I like Demons. I like Challengers. I think they're cool as hell, but inside, not the best. But to just get one to cruise around, I think just getting a Hellcat is fine. There's no reason to get a Demon or Demon Red Eye or Demon 170. I don't even know the Demon 170. Never heard of it. They're supposed to have a last generation of the Demon because Dodge is going all EV. That could be a collector's car. So to just get it and just hold it could be pretty good from a resale perspective. Daywad keeps asking about Mantra. I can't tell you about Mantra. Okay, greetings from Poland. But one of my pet peeves is having someone keep pasting after the delay, because I have like a 5-minute delay, and you keep posting the same question over and over and over and over again. It's not that I didn't see it. I choose to not to answer. And if you keep doing it, you'll just get a timeout. John Terrell, I'm going to Nashville. I'm hoping to buy Kathy Wood a drink. If you have a whale pass, there could be a good chance. I'm thinking whale pass people, they can mingle with all the, the Kathy Woods and the Michael Saylors of the world. Although I don't know if they're going to hang out in the VIP lounge. I really don't. So I'm hoping they do. And I'm hoping Elon and Trump also hangs in there. Because if you look at Whale Pass here, VIP and lounge seating, right? That lounge. Dedicated whale service liaisons. I don't know what that means. Backstage, deep sessions with top speakers. So, does that mean I get to talk with Trump or Elon or any of the other top speakers? I don't know. I just want to shake their hand, take a picture. That's about it. I'm not going to get into deep conversations with any of these guys. Whale Pass is $21,000. Last week it was like $12,000. And before, I think it's like $5,000. Now it's getting too ridiculous. How's your knee? Hope it's good. It's better than before. When I work out a lot, it still gets sore, but it's not nearly as bad as before because I cut out still a lot of carbs. Someone suggested I go vegan. I don't think I could ever do that. That'd be just too horrible. Crypto conversation with Joe. If you happen to bump into me, because I'll be walking, if you happen to bump into me, then stop me and say, hey, I'll glad to have an interview with you. JRR says, I'm unsubscribing if you go vegan. Hey, a lot of people I know that are vegan are extremely, I don't know if they're extremely fit, but they're extremely skinny, that's for sure. I don't have any thoughts on Punk. Someone else asked me about it, and it's down. It's 200 million. Whether it recovers or blows up, I really can't tell you. I do think carnivore diet is the best. Not because I think just eating all meat is great. I think it's really just cutting out the bad carbs. A lot of processed stuff, gluten, whatever. Cutting that out, I think, is the most beneficial. And cutting out like a lot of the fruits, which are heavy in sugar. I think sticking with fruit that is less in sugar, less in carbs, like berries, and then adding some good veggies, even though carnivores argue veggies have a lot of pesticides. But, you know, if you stick with some of the good ones like broccoli and asparagus and lettuce and carrots, negative calorie foods, I think it's okay. I think if you balance a carnivore with some good veggies and some fruits, it's good. If you go pure carnivore where you're only eating steak every day for years, I can't imagine that's good. Let's do a poll. What's another one? I don't even know of another diet. Graham, I appreciate it, but again, it seems like you're saying that to shill Harabi. You could have said all that without saying that. So again, I appreciate your earlier super chat, this one, but it still seems like there's another ulterior motive for your super chat. It seems like based on my poll, very little people, not very little, still 18% are vegans, which is an enormous amount. 46% carnivore, 36% keto, and 70% vegan. Is mayonnaise an instrument? I don't know what that means. Brianna, my portfolio is 40% ETH. 40% ETH? Are you really serious about that? 25% Bitcoin, 21% Sol. Is it worth at least a 10% pump this cycle? Of course it's going to be up 10%. You could be 10% next week. I don't know what kind of question is that, but I would not be holding that kind of, I guess, allocation. I would be holding a lot more Bitcoin than ETH. Elon spoke with Jordan Peterson today. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I wonder how that went. I watched the first 5 minutes and Elon just kept interrupting Jordan Peterson. So I don't know if that the whole interview is like that. Warren, I appreciate that. So the poll, 52% says carnivore. So Jonathan says, so I spent too much on crypto, lost most of my money, and now I need to sell my car. Need to sell for my car payment, which is in 3 days. Should I sell now, tomorrow, or day after that? I can't tell you. You invested more than what you could afford to lose, so you have to face the consequences. Black Cat Crypto Club says, vegan has been the best life choice I've ever made. What is your strategy for taking profits, reverse DCA? Yeah, basically. Right now, I've come up with a new strategy for profit taking, which is to set a percentage of your portfolio, say 25%, 30%, set that in cash or stable coins. And then as your portfolio goes up in value, make sure your cash pile stays the same. So it forces you to kind of take profits. And then as we get closer to the peak, which will come in 2025, you make the cash pile bigger. So that way, you don't really have to guess, right? As long as you keep the cash pile at that percentage, you're good. All right, guys. Let's call it a night. We got a lot of bullish stuff happening. Major buying sprees from Blackrock, from others. We got a lot of huge supporters. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I think something big is about to happen. We got 2 days until the conference. Tomorrow, spot ETFs are out. Let's see what happens. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early. Take care.